You had one of the best teams during 92, the best financial team a government could have, and India has till now, right? You were there, Montek Singh Ahluwalia was there, and couple of other folks, right? How did this team get assembled? And Mr. Manmohan Singh was also there as part of that team.
Well, I don't think it happened at a time when so many of us were involved with government. Somewhere around that time, it was decided that the government will also take in people from outside who are competent into the system. Essentially, the government was run by the bureaucrats, particularly the civil servants, the IAS officers, and other similar officers. But from time to time, they decided that it is good to get people from outside and make them part of the system. So what you have at that particular time, a mix of people who have come from outside at some particular point in time. So I had spent, for example, in academia for almost 20 years before I came into the Reserve Bank and therefore part of the system. Similarly about Montek Ahluwalia, and there are many others, Shankaracharya and others. But there are also people from within the IAS who are also efficient and competent and who could also do things like N.K. Singh or Mr. Geeta Krishnan and others. Therefore, it so happened at that time, there was a mix of people who had domain knowledge acquired outside and coming into the system, as well as people who are very competent in their own civil service and who could really contribute to it. And I think, I suppose, it's also part of the the management skills of the policy makers, the political policy makers at that time, to recognize this and to bring the people.
Yeah. And if you could remember, right, how was Mr. Manmohan Singh as a finance minister and as a prime minister?
Well, I have known him in both respects. As finance minister, he had, when he became finance minister, he had very little political experience directly. I mean, he has dealt with politicians because he has been in the government and therefore dealing with politicians who are finance ministers or who are commerce ministers and so on and so forth. But he was himself not in politics. That was his first experience as a politician. But it is also true that he went in as a finance minister because of his technical capabilities and technical powers. It was a recognition of his capabilities as an economist, as a practicing economist, that brought him in to the position of the finance minister. And then he delivered a very competent regime, and all these reforms could be introduced. We were part of the team, but he led the team, and in a sense that Narasimha Rao played the role of providing the political support to the new economic regime. So Narasimha Rao's role is also very important, and many people do not realize Narasimha Rao at that time as Prime Minister was also Minister in charge of industries, and therefore the whole system of controls, licenses and all were knocked down by his ministry. There are many other things which were done, which for which Dr. Manmohan Singh was directly responsible. But the point essentially is that as finance minister, he functioned for most of the time as a technical expert. But he delivered. I mean, I think that's important. And but as prime minister, by that time, he had not only been the finance minister for almost 5 years, but he was also leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha. And therefore, as prime minister, he had by that time lot of political skills also under his control, and that made the difference. But I think the most important thing as prime minister was that he was able to give a direction to the way the government is being run, not only from the technical angle of finance, but also from various other perspectives also, whether it is foreign policy or whether it is Jammu and Kashmir or whether it is something else besides finance. He was able to guide. And the first term of Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister showed that he can handle all of this, and really it led to a situation in which the country grew at a very fast rate and gained acceptance in all other areas also. The second term of his as finance as prime minister was slightly different, because that was a period beset with too many political problems.
Yeah, there were too many scandals happening left, right, and center.
Yeah, and therefore it did not come up as well. But as finance minister, he did excellent job. As prime minister, he did excellent job in the first term. The second term was somewhat clouded by other factors.
Yeah. And I believe that if he had contested as a prime minister for the third time, the Congress government would have a fair chance in 2014. But he withdrew at that point of time that he doesn't want to be a prime minister again.
No, I don't think that is I think the situation at the end of 2014 was very different. I mean, I think because in any case, he did not stand for election even earlier, because he was always a member of the Rajya Sabha. So that is different. So in 2014, it is not the fact that he did not stand, because he did not stand for election even.
But it was clear that he would, if Congress wins, he would not be the PM. It's either somebody, Rahul Gandhi, or somebody else would have been the PM.
Well, I don't think it was made up that quickly, but it was made up that way. But the point really is there were too many things which came into conflict at that time, and whether the Congress party would have been able to clear them and get a chance. But it was doubtful even at that time. It is not as if it was very clear that Congress will lose it or not. But the point was that there were problems in the second half, if I may say so, of the second term.